Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 626 of the DrunkNerds podcast. I'm your host, as always, I'm Tyler, and joining me, we have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
I'll tell you what, man. There's been a lot of stuff going up and a lot of things coming down, but at the same time, I am happy to finally be done with Capcom Fighting Collection. Oh man, I know the work week has been pretty much like the same old as it has been. Pretty busy, pretty hectic in certain spots, though. But one consistency is I actually managed to stay on course and completely finish like this set of collection of games. So I'm very happy about that. On top of that, I did make a recent purchase. I did go to a Walmart a town over, and I ended up discovering they had the physical version for the World Championship versions here for Nintendo Switch. So I picked this one up. This one was $60 retail, which actually kind of surprised me because I thought it was going to be a little bit like cheaper that way. But then again, they kind of charge that in terms of their own website for the physical form of it. It's like
Yeah.
30 for digital, I believe.
Yep, 30.
But it's cool. It comes with with a set of like cards and stuff and some pins and actually like a dummy like NES Championship cartridge itself. It looks pretty cool. But yeah, I'll talk a little bit more about the game stuff a little bit later in terms of what I've been playing. But other than that, though, I'm just happy. Football season's coming back into full effect. Preseason this week started. On top of that, I know that Olympics has been going on, and I know for a fact that the men's basketball won the gold in the Olympics like
Yep,
earlier on today, which
yep.
that was fairly exciting. And Tyler got a little slice of what it feels like to be a Golden State Warriors fan.
Yeah, I've been fucking up, man. I've been a Pistons fan for the last like 25 years, and this whole time you've had Steph Curry over there. Was my God, it was I've been buzzing just all day. I was in the shower today,
Bro.
just cackling to myself, thinking about Steph Curry. It's just like, man, like really, this is. I was just like the noises that were coming out of my mouth. I didn't know was possible. My dog was like legitimately scared of me for I don't know 2 hours there because it was just constantly me like laughing to myself. Like it was just like every time I have like a mouthful of chips and fucking LeBron James is a like behind the back pass to fucking Devin Booker for like just like an easy dunk, and I'm just like I started laughing. Fucking Steph I think scored like 11 straight points in like the last like 2 minutes of the game, including like
Mm.
over a double team. And I was just like, this is the greatest thing ever. This is so cool. Like why couldn't like man like uh the basketball gods. If only we got like LeBron and Steph on a team together. Because the fourth quarter was like it was a close game. Like France was not going away. And it was like the USA would go up like 10 points. All of a sudden France would score like 6 points and cut it down to like four. And it was like I think it was like
Right.
82-79 with like 2.5 minutes to go. Um, and it was like
Wow.
it was just like LeBron and Steph. Just like my like man, people don't think like I know like LeBron's like 40 and like Steph's like 35, 36, and it's just like um,
Yeah.
I'm like, man, like,
Yeah, he's about 36.
yeah, and I'm just like, man, like, these guys are like, yeah, like maybe they can't do it for 8 months straight like this, but when like the time calls for it, these two are like the two best players in the fucking world still, and it was just incredible to see, and like them do it together was just like it was just like those when the fourth quarter hit, and like KD had a couple big buckets at the end of the game as well. It was just like, man, it was like it was like it's just an incredible visual to see those three guys together on the basketball court playing together and like a game that counts, not
Mm.
like some shitty all-star game, like an actual real game with stakes on the line. And like when there was like nut crunching time and they had to like fucking you know someone had to take over the game, those three just like cool, yeah, everybody, all you youngins over here, you just step aside and we're gonna fucking dominate. And it was incredible. It was awesome. I like feels like after like for the next like 3 hours I was just like wandering around just just laughing to myself, like cackling. I was just like, man, it was like I cannot believe what we saw. It was, yeah, it's definitely one of those like moments, like like the sports moments, like you're gonna think about forever. So, yeah, it was really cool.
Oh yeah.
It's like being a
Oh yeah,
Packers fan,
dude.
like peak Aaron Rodgers, like the early to mid 2010s, where it's just like 5 times a game he'd just do like the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen, and it's just like I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. I feel like yeah, like Steph is like the like basketball version of that. So,
Dude, no shit. I mean, this dude, this dude can fucking pull off 3-pointers from like almost anywhere. It's like
Yeah,
half court, almost full court, like friggin' on the sides, like then through double teams and stuff. I mean,
yeah,
there's a reason why this dude is like probably one of the best, if not, I think one of even like the best 3-point shooter of all time. Because it's like just the way his confidence and like a lot of his stuff, it's like he just makes it look so routine,
yeah,
dude.
yeah. And I'm not big on watching Olympics. You know, like I'll usually watch like I'll watch basketball and stuff, but like, um,
Yeah.
you know, like or like I'll watch some of this stuff. I'm like, I don't understand what's happening here. So like gymnastics, like that's not for me. Nice for audio listeners. Gables has a is that like a Steph Curry? Is that like a Funko or like a bobblehead?
Oh, it's not like a bobble. It's not like a Funko or any type of bobblehead stuff. This is like I managed to find this at Walmart,
Oh,
dude. It's
okay.
like they have these little NBA like little figures and stuff like that. They have like some from like different players. Like they'll have LeBron. They'll have like other like NBA athletes as well. And I managed to find the only one that had Steph Curry. So I'm like, well, it's rare that I find Bay Area players here. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, you think you'd find more Portland stuff up there. So yeah, but it was cool to
Oh,
watch. Yeah, but it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of like definitely a couple hours of just man and like I don't know. Olympic basketball is like way more fun to watch I think than NBA. You know, there's not a lot of breaks stuff like that. It's like fast paced. I think there was like once per quarter there was like a commercial break and that was it. So
yeah.
it flew by so fast. So it was a lot of fun. But anyways, believe it or not, this is a video game podcast where Gables and I get together every week to talk about video games and everything we love and hate about them. So if you guys like the show, like what we do, appreciate it if you just this is your 626th time or your first time watching us. I appreciate it if you give us a like, subscribe, thumbs up, whatever you can do to help us out. We're on podcast services as well, so anyone out there look for us to find us, Drunk Nerds, Drunk Testers. You will find us. Um, Leave that 5-star review, whatever. Leave a comment. Leave whatever you can do to help us out. We appreciate it. Share with your friends. Tell your friends. We're on Twitter and Facebook as well, YouTube, everything. So there's links down below in the show notes too. If you want a quick way to get to all those places, you can do that for us. But yeah. Anyways, Gables, let's we were gonna do this last week, and then obviously everything that happened last week with like Bungie and Game Informer kind of took a
Mm-hmm.
priority. But a couple weeks ago, the Xbox 360 was finally laid to rest. And it was kind of crazy. Like you and I were like messaging each other back and forth of like because a bunch of games were on sale. Um,
Yeah.
at like the last like month or so, they were doing like random sales. Um, and like you and I were like messaging each other like all these sales, and then like you and I were going back and forth, and you were talking about games. And I couldn't find them on there. Kind of found out Gables was like on an actual fucking 360, like going
Dude,
up and buying these games.
I could explain that too. A couple of years ago, I was given an Xbox 360, like the last model version of the Xbox 360, alongside of a group of games and stuff from one of my dad's caregivers because she just wanted to get rid of it. And I ended up using that to scroll through a lot of the Xbox 360's dashboard. So it's like I was able to see certain deals on games that Tyler wasn't able to. And on top of that, because he was on the Series X and stuff, he was seeing certain deals that I wasn't able to see at all for like some games like on the some Xbox games like on the Xbox Series X, so that I wouldn't be able to see unless I powered on an Xbox Series X. So case in point, there were like a couple games that I saw on the 360 that I was able to buy, but even though they're backwards compatible and stuff, some of them didn't even show up like on the Xbox Series X.
Hmm.
So it's like the original Bionic Commando Rearmed. I managed to pick that one up for like a few dollars and stuff on the 360 store. You can't even play that on the Series X.
Oh, I didn't know
And it
that.
wasn't even
Okay.
showing. It wasn't even showing up. However, the second game wasn't discounted on the 360, but it was discounted on the Series X. And so it's like that surprised the hell out of me. I mean, you basically have the original game that was available on its original release on the storefront, but yet that didn't have a deal like any type of like price reductions for it. But yet you see it on the Series X and it was only a few dollars more. It was like a few dollars in general, $2 or $3. So I picked it up and I'm able to play it on the on the Series X, but it's like I'm not going to be able to play the original Bionic Commando like rearmed on the actual Xbox Series X. I could technically buy it on Steam and play through it that way because it's also available on Steam. But as for like the 360 storefront, there were definitely a couple of games I did pick up
Yeah.
before that initial thing closed, and I did it like super late. I did it like the night before the store actually closed.
Yeah.
So I got Bionic Commando Rearmed. I got Bionic Commando like Rearmed 2. I managed to pick up like the Mortal Kombat arcade collection. I could only find that on the 360. It was $5. I'm like, fuck. This is the only way I'm going to be able to play it on the classic Mortal Kombat games on a somewhat modern console
Yeah.
that's connectable by HDMI. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and get that, And I think I only spent like about $20 or $30 max through everything in general, so it wasn't breaking the bank. I ended up picking a couple of full-on 360 games. I got Oni Chimbara, that game that was on sale on Xbox Series X. It's an old 360 PS3 game where it's just a bunch of stupid fun. You have these girls or something like that with fucking swords and stuff. Like, yeah, it's just like a big old like action game and stuff like that. Kind of the type of game you probably wouldn't find too much or something nowadays because of how hypersensitive everything is. But the second game, I ended up buying Blue Dragon.
Yeah. Nice. Nice. It was only like
Dude,
what, like $5 or something like that. I think at the end.
it was like $5
Mm.
on the Series X's storefront. So I think I ended up picking like about 5 or 6 games in general. But I'm happy that most of the stuff that was on the 360 store, or a lot of those games there, did come to the later systems like the Xbox One, the PC, Series X, and stuff. And they intentionally do that, right? So it's like they'll constantly port the same or bring by the same type of games and stuff to the next platform and stuff. But I think they kind of knew that they weren't going to have a lot of the licensing stuff to the 360 things anyway. I mean, there was some games that I didn't see on there. Of course, the way that Xbox that dashboard was situated, I could only sort through a couple of different ways to try to find games. Like I was able to find the popular games that were like the best sellers and stuff, but I had to do something individually different. I think you showed me in terms of like the Series X how you can find some of the backwards compatible games,
Yeah. I seen the
but on an
video.
actual, yeah, yeah, because you sent me the video how you did that. On an actual 360, I had to go even deeper to try to find just to get through like individual like games and stuff for that system. I had to literally type them into the search bar because some of them you could not find. Like they would only list like about 436 games in total for some of their best downloadable games. I mean, we knew this. I knew the whole Xbox Live like storefront and stuff was going to be buggy, and there was going to be a lot of people trying to bug down that thing, which that happened to be 2 or 3 times. I got kicked off. I had to go back on. Had to just check out
Yeah.
every little thing, and I ended up discovering during the research is like a lot of the games that people were touting. Oh, you got to get this for the 360. It's on, or you got to get that for the 360. You can fucking download it almost anywhere else for some of these games. Like Gatling Gears, I heard a lot of that being passed around. Well, you can buy it on Steam.
Yeah.
I mean, that was one aspect of it. That's one thing of it. Bionic Commando Rearmed. You could buy it on Steam if you really want to. I mean, Renegade Ops. That's actually another game you can buy on Steam. I actually do have that on PlayStation Plus as well for PS3. So if I really wanted to play that game again, I could technically download it. But yeah, man, there were just a bunch of odds and end games, and like the rest of the games that people were recommending to try to download for like say 360 before the stores shut down, it was like certain games that are super expensive and physical, but yet are very much cheap, like on the digital front. I mean, I'm trying to think of like anything else though in terms of games that were recommended that I was from the videos I was watching. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Hydro Thunder.
Oh yeah, I actually already own that one. Like it's funny, some of those like that Mortal Kombat collection I bought years ago, like Hydro Thunder I owned.
Yeah.
Um, like Lost Odyssey I picked up. It's like $7. I bought that.
Yes.
Which is sad. Like Blue Dragon and I bought that one too. Like those are only on 360, which sucks. Like I'm shocked that they haven't at least ported them over to Steam at this point, or it's like GOG or something. Uh,
Oh, I bought Blue Dragon on Series X. I thought it was backwards compatible on Series X.
it is, but I mean, like I'm just shocked that like it's not playable like on Steam or something. Like those like it's
Yeah.
crazy those games are stuck on an Xbox. Uh,
Yes.
Especially like Lost Odyssey, like they're like I remember playing that game way back in the day, and like that was a game that finally broke me on like JRPGs. Like I was a huge JRPG fan, like
Mm-hmm.
growing up, like during like the PS2 and like GameCube era, and then like I remember like buying Lost Odyssey, and I was just like, I'm gonna get to a certain point, I'm like, fuck this, I hate this. I'm like, what am I doing? And that was like the game, like I was like the last like JRPG I got into for a very long time. Um, yeah, like I bought like I didn't I think I ended up spending like probably around 50, but I bought like Call of Duty Black Ops, just because like and I tried playing a game online and like it took a long time to find a game, and I played a game, and man, let me tell you, I got fucking wrecked. So that sucked. What's cool though is like all my like all my, I thought I would have I figured like my saves were gone, like because this is like like an Xbox. I haven't had an Xbox in about 360 in over a decade at this point, and I went in and I booted. I went in there. All my information's on there. I can look up my like my time played, my KD ratio, everything. Because I was like the one Call of Duty I really got into, and like I actually prestiged on, and like yeah, like so all that was really cool to see all that stuff is on there. About like Lost Odyssey, like I said, Blue Dragon, Enslaved. I love that game way back in the day, like from Ninja Theory,
Mm.
and then the other game, what was it? Binary Domain, which is a game I love.
Oh, that's right.
It's very much it's like a Mass Effect style game that Sega made like way back in the day. That's really good. Mainly just bought like games like I'm sure some of those games are probably available on Steam or something like that. But like I'm a console gamer, so and they were like pretty cheap too. Like I think like Call of Duty was like 15. Like Black Ops was like $15. I actually own all the map packs to that game too, so
Mm-hmm.
it's cool to have that. And then like I said, like Lost Odyssey and Blue Dragon I think are like $5 to $7, and like um, Binary Domain and Enslaved like they were like $10 a piece. So I was just like, fuck yeah, and like cool to have too. And like who knows if I ever go back to playing these games, but it's just like it's nice to have them at the very least. It's like if I don't
Yeah.
play them, I'm out like a very small amount of money. So I remember like playing Blue Dragon way back in the day, like when I first got my 360, and I barely played it, but yeah, it was funny because a couple times you were like messaging me like because there was like reports were coming out to like that store can like be shut down at I think it was like Sunday night,
Yep.
like it could be shut down at any point. So I ended up going to like midday Monday or something.
Yes, it did.
But it was like yeah, like I remember a couple times like you told me like I think it's done, because like you were talking about like you're having issues because like everybody it's you're on super old hardware, and on top of that a lot of people are probably on there at the same time, so like you kept getting
Yep.
like error messages and stuff like that. And even like I was on Series X and going through some of these like clicking the buttons, and like it was like it wasn't like minutes, but it'd be like like 10 seconds where you're like, oh god, is like am I able to buy this game, or like is it done? So but yeah, it was I don't know, it's yeah I think honestly like if you were to like ask me like I I think like 360 to like I think we're like that generation, like I think probably a lot of people like early 40s to like probably like our age, mid 30s, like maybe early 30s, were like that was the console that like I think made us in a lot of ways. Like yeah, maybe there's like consoles that we prefer more, but like I mean it's maybe the most like it
It's probably one of the most important consoles to come out because it normalized online like gaming on
yeah
console,
yeah
because it's like it was so influential in doing that, and it pretty much brought together a lot of people that probably wouldn't have decided to want to do that either way without having to go onto PC, because PC was pretty much the exclusive ground where you could play a lot of the various type of games and stuff, from like shooters to RPGs and stuff like that online with friends. But even with like the original Xbox, there was Xbox Live, but yet that only lasted for about like a few years in general. Where it's like the 360 when it came out, it lasted all the way up to like about 2012 or so,
2013
2013 and
yeah
stuff before
8
the
years
Xbox One and stuff.
yeah I mean yeah it's like yeah like you look at like you like the bones of like what 360 did, we are still like we're just like we're building up like it's just better versions of what the 360 was at this point. Like like yeah,
Yep.
like definitely like yeah, like we had Xbox Live, PS2 had online before that, but like I mean, it's nowhere near like the party chats and just like some of the cool shit they would try out. Like there were so many like things that like just wouldn't happen today. Like I remember like the Netflix like party chat and stuff like that was like a big deal. Like
Hmm.
or just like having like I remember just like being able to watch Netflix on this console, like having like the Hulu and stuff like that was like it'd be like a lot of people like I remember I know people like I would work with that didn't even play video games. That was just like they had a 360 because that was the thing they would buy to like because Fire Sticks weren't around back then. That this was the thing you bought to almost like you bought a PS3 for Blu-ray, you bought a PS2 for
Yep.
DVD player, you bought a 360 to watch Netflix and Hulu and YouTube on your TV. Like that was the reason you
Yep.
bought it. And like I remember like the early days of like the 360, like Netflix and stuff, like where you couldn't even like add, like you couldn't even see all the game or all those shows. You had to like go on the website and add them to your watch list, and that was the only way you can watch them
Yes.
on your 360. I remember those early days of
Dude.
like I remember my girlfriend and I moved into an apartment together. We were like 19, and like that was what we
Yeah.
would. That was all. We didn't have cable or anything, and our neighbor didn't have like a password for the Wi-Fi, so we were using their Wi-Fi, and we would just be watching. We watched like all of Heroes on Netflix, and I'd go to work and like add a bunch of stuff to my watch list, and go home. Like we didn't have smartphones either. Like like the iPhone was out then, but like you couldn't like we couldn't afford it. So like I would go to work, and I worked at Wells Fargo at that point, and I'd go there and on the computer on my break. I would add a bunch of stuff to my watch list that like, oh, we might like this, we might like that, and that was what we did. Like that was like what we watched. We'd like watch 360 like all night and stuff, and like we didn't have any money, so like that was our entertainment that we had, and like that was what we would do. And like oh, there's like new thing we want to watch. Well, we had to wait till I go to work the next day, or like if it was a Friday, we had to wait till Monday. I go back to work so I could add these things to my watch list. Like it was just incredible. Like back in like the early days of like Netflix with on 360. I remember like like people like buying the 360 like just for the Connect, and like they use it to work out and shit. Like it's just kind of crazy. Like
Mm.
those like phenomenons of that thing, but yeah, like going back to like just the gaming side of things, like I remember like I the 360 like I think really like you can take the entire library to a console. It'd probably be 360 and like PS4 would be like the two for me, like where like you can have every single game. I mean it'd probably be
Right.
360 because like if you take out all the, like the ports and stuff that got are remasters that mentioned with the PS4 and stuff, like if you just gave me like took all those out and like let me just I'd probably pick the 360. And like also like for our time, like you gotta think when that came out, like came out in 2005. I would have like we were still in high school when that thing came out, and like I remember buying one. Like that was like when I bought with like um some of my graduation money, and or no, it was before that I bought one. uh and like I remember having it and like not knowing that like if you turn the sideways from like stand up to sideways with like while it's on, it would burn your disc. I had no idea about that. And like I remember like buying it, and I bought a copy of it was the day NCAA football '07 came out. So this is like July 2006. I bought one. I bought a 360. I bought a used one from I was working at a game store at that point. Well, not GameStop. And I remember like buying it, taking it home with a brand new copy, and like I put it on the carpet because I didn't have like a TV stand or anything like that, and it fell over while I was playing the game. It burnt I had no idea about this. I remember taking it to work. I'm like, hey, what's this? And they didn't have like nobody knew about this. Like we didn't know about this either. I remember like I got I had to like it got to the point I was buying them used so I couldn't afford a new one, and I remember like I kept getting red rings. Like this is before like we knew exactly what the red rings were. I got 3 of them in like 2 months, and I kept taking back. It got to the point where like the store when like even though I worked there, they're like, we're not taking them more back, Tyler. Like this is a you problem. Like I called I had to go to Microsoft, and then like they wouldn't take it back. This is before they did like the warranty stuff, and I remember like I
Hmm.
took my 360 that I had that was red ringed. I went to GameStop and I traded it in and a couple of games I had for it, and I bought a Wii with it. Like I traded them in. And I bought. I think I couldn't get a Wii because they were sold out. I ended up staying at a Best Buy overnight to get a Wii. But like I pre-ordered like Twilight Princess, Excite Truck, like a Wiimote and a couple of like WarioWare, Smooth Moves, stuff like that. But like and it was like remember like a couple of friends of mine at work when I worked at a game store, they bought 360s, and like they kept chipping away, and I was a dumbass Nintendo fanboy. I'm like, oh, the Wii's better than the 360. It looks better. I was like, even arguing the graphics were better, even though the Wii didn't have HD. I was a dumbass. Like I'm sitting over here playing the fucking Sight Truck. And I'm like, it's so much better than Gears of War. But anyways, like, like I said, I was a dumbass for a long time, and I remember like they finally talked. This is like around the time Crackdown, like Dead Rising, I think came out. And I remember like I finally went ahead and I just bought a 360, and I bought a brand new one, everything like that. And this is like right before like BioShock came out, and like Call of Duty. This is like June, July, of like 2007, and I got I got Marvel Ultimate Alliance and Forza Horizon 2. I think Forza Horizon 2 I think was like brand new at that point or something, or it was pretty new at that point. I remember like buying those at first. I remember like going home with them and like playing online. And, like we immediately had 8 people in a party chat together playing, and it was like the coolest thing in the world to me. Like playing these games, staying up all night. You know, I'm like 18 at this point. You know, like working this. You know, as a full time job. Like I had to be up till like 8:30, so I'd stay up till 4 or 5 in the morning. Plus, yeah, when you're 18, you can stay up till you could work. You can work a 12-hour shift on 2 hours sleep. Who cared? And I remember like staying up all night with these guys and like playing like. And I remember like the first thing we did, we played Forza Horizon 2, and I never played a Forza or not Horizon, just Forza Motorsports 2, and I never played a Forza game before in my life, and I didn't know it was like I'm playing like Need for Speed, and like if we go around, we like I just immediately take off and I get first place immediately. And like 4 seconds later, you gotta take a sharp left, and I just fucking went right to the wall, and I wrecked everybody. Everybody immediately started screaming at me on this fucking on the headsets, and like one of the guys like he doesn't know like I just like I met these guys like an hour ago, you know, and I remember like one like the buddy at work that talked me into buying this thing is like guys he's never played before, like you know yeah. Anyways, I just remember having so many like fond memories of like it was a big peak like that was like all the gamer nights that like me and my buddies would have together like or like you know, like if it wasn't for 360, like you and I probably wouldn't have met, you know, or like because I met friends that would end up like you know that's how we ended up meeting was like through these friends. I ended up like finding you on Twitter and like that's how we started following each other and that's how we became friends and started talking. And then this is why this podcast is made. Like it's because of like the bonds was created during that 360 era. Like I think about you know like I said like Big Red not Big Red Stress Gamer get to play like games with like
Yes.
fucking Doc and like Lano and Dave and like a lot of those guys are like talking ship, like all gamer nights we had on there. You know, playing like staying up like super late, playing like Borderlands, getting shit
Yes.
fucking drunk, playing Borderlands, till like 4 in the morning. Like gamer nights like Left 4 Dead, Burnout Paradise, like all like just like I just think about too of like we're so spoiled now. We bitch and complain sometimes, and I'm guilty of it too. Of like we complain about the games that come out nowadays, but it's like but it's like just the sheer amount of games that come out nowadays like of like quality games even like just the amount of like 7 out of 10 games that come out like a year anymore is way more than like any like just games we got period during that era, you know. This is like the early days of like indie games and like smaller games coming out, but like man I remember like we would be so desperate for games to come out. I remember like getting excited for like fucking Army of Two or like Lost Lost Planet, Prototype, Call of Juarez, The Darkness, Time Shift. Remember like I remember like Two Human being like the
Yes.
next big thing. We were so excited for like I remember like everybody was so excited for Two Human. Like the
Oh
the
yeah,
hype was off the charts, and that game came out and it was just like it was like a 6 out of 10 game. Like but like
dude.
go ahead.
Oh man, I'm not talking about like say Advent Rising and stuff. Like
Mm.
I'm not talking about like, yeah, I'm not talking about Too Human and stuff. But it really reminded me of like almost the situation with Advent Rising, to where that was so utterly hyped and stuff. And then once reviews started hitting, it's like, oh dude, this is shit.
Yeah, it's like so rare anymore where like games come out and like we're expecting like 88s or like low 90s. It's very rare that happens and it comes out. It's like oh shit, it's like a 78. It's so rare anymore. Like I feel like we're like a lot more. Like I think we all like we could see it like every now and again there's a surprise out there, but we can most
Yes.
part like we could see it coming a mile away. Like maybe there's like we definitely get surprised from time to time, but like as far as like as for surprising like we don't like this game like a Helldiver or something like that. You know like this game comes out of nowhere like we don't expect like those definitely happen. But like any more of like games we expect to be like game of the year contenders to come out and just be like actually this game's kind of shitty. Like it doesn't happen very often, but like I feel like it happened multiple times a year during the 360 during that era. Is just because there was so,
Yes.
but we all bought them anyways because there were so few games to play during this time like where like this is like you know early days of like I said like summer arcade. Like I remember like getting excited just playing like Double Dragon like online with my buddies, or like the old TMNT
Double
arcade
Dragon
games.
Neon.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I'm like, you know, or just like fucking like this is the thing that made like fucking Call of Duty was like Call of Duty 4 like the like that's the thing I talk about a lot when I miss like some of the things I miss most about gaming is like just like it felt like an event. Like there's so rare
Yes.
anymore that like video games like a game comes out and it feels like an event. Like But we get
Right.
those every now and again to a certain extent, like Elden Ring stuff like that. But it's like I miss like almost like I a lot of me just misses like the in person part of it too, like going to midnight sales for games. But like just
Yes.
like but like they were like Call of Duty coming out, like Halo 3 coming out, like when those came out, that was like even like Madden back then, like when those games came out,
Right.
Mass Effect 2 especially, when those games came
Oh
out,
yeah.
it was like a holiday, like, and not just like a gamer holiday. This like it was bigger. It was on the news. Like that's how big these things were. Like people like it was wild to me. Like I remember like I always talk about forever. Like it kind of sucks sometimes. Like trying to like find games to play with people like with your friends and stuff. Cause it's like well, I have this one. I don't have it. Oh, I have it. And it definitely makes it easier now, like Game Pass, PS Plus Extra, stuff like that. It's gotten easier
Right.
in that standpoint, but like, it's definitely got like, like I would say like, like the latter half, like the PS4 era. I'd say like 2015, 2016 on, or like because now is more and more. There's constantly online games coming out all the time. But like back then, like everybody owned Call like if you like had Xbox Live, you had Call of Duty, you had Halo, you had Gears of
Yep.
War, like we all like and a lot of times we just buy those games just because all our other friends were buying it and I want to play games with my friends. That was the game that I get. And like, yeah, they're still great games, but it's like, yeah, it's just like the cultural events of these things coming out was so fucking cool. Yeah, it's just like, and like I said, like Left 4 Dead, like just anytime like a big like or like even like a double A like online game would come out was like this huge like I said, Army of Two because like was a big fucking like Lost Planet. Those games had audiences just because they had 2 player, 4 player online multiplayer. I remember like or you think of like Dead Space 3, like or like every game had to have like an online mode because online became such a big deal. Or like every game had to all of a sudden be like we had a forced co-op in there because that was a big thing. We don't want people to trade in games back then, but
Oh, the online passes and stuff like
yes,
that
for
to
like
play
Mortal
online. The
Kombat.
$10 passes that were included in each individual like game releases from like the last couple of years before like say the PS4 and the Xbox One launch and stuff. That was utterly ridiculous, dude.
Yeah,
And that's what ended up happening with a lot of that stuff too. But when I think of Xbox 360 as a whole, I mean, my journey with that stuff didn't really begin until like around 2008. 2000, I think like, yeah, it was 2008. It was like early on in that year where I invested inside of a 360. And the first game I ended up buying was Halo 2 because it was the first ever game that I end up, I actually just wanted like an interest just to try to play in terms of like on the 360 because I did not get like Gears of War, I did not get any of that stuff off the front because I was interested in playing Halo. It was pretty much like a $30 game on top of like the fucking $200 or so, like 250 some odd dollars or something that I just spent on this system. So here I am and stuff. I have my 360 all set up and stuff to where I did even have like an HD television at the time. I still had like a SD. I still had the freaking standard definition television. Put on Halo 2 and stuff, and I was just playing that for a good portion of the stuff. And I was playing against people online and stuff because, well, it's like I did have Xbox Live as well. I got the little cards and everything that was involved inside
yeah,
of that first couple weeks, and I used that. And what's kind of hilarious about that is like I end up playing it on like my parents' like big screen or something like that, some of the online multiplayer stuff. And what's hilarious, I'll forever remember this, but there was one time where we got pizza from like Papa Murphy's, right? And like I thought my mom had already cooked the pizza or like one of the things, so I took one of like the freaking gourmet vegetarian like pieces of pizza I
oh
get it, and
no.
I'm just eating it right, and it's just fucking stretching like street cheese. Like, man, this is a really gooey pizza. Like, this is me at 19, dude. Like, just like it's like all of a sudden, my mom just yells, and it's like, "Gabe, that pizza must have been fucking cooked." Like, I'm sorry,
You ate half of it already.
I did eat half. Not half the. I did eat half of the slice of pizza. But yeah, man, I have. It's not just that though, but I remember playing like Halo 2. I mean, Gears of War. I love the campaign of playing the original Gears of War. Multiplayer, on the other hand, man, I had terrible experience because of how the online shit was so competitive and toxic
Yeah, oh
during
yeah,
that initial time, especially to new players. Let's see. Oh my God, Halo 3. When Halo 3 released, that one was an event because I decided I wanted to spend money on getting my first HD television. It was an Emerson TV, a flat screen, like about it was like about I think it was like an 18-inch like Emerson TV that was it was like it had the HDMI port, all this and that. And what's hilarious about it is like as soon as it got Halo 3, when I bought that, I clicked and I was like, I was just looking at the fucking beach and the water. I'm like, oh shit. This actually looks fairly nice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just like seeing HD for the first time was like putting on like the first time you put on glasses. It's like, oh my
Yeah.
god, like I can actually see now.
Oh god, this is so clear. This is so bright. I kind of like this.
Yeah.
I spent so much time playing Halo 3. Like I played through the campaign, I played through that the multiplayer aspect things for months. I I know I'd get my ass kicked a lot of times because of I was like in my early 20s and stuff like that, and like late teens, early 20s, I'll be fucking cussing up a storm because of fucking like it's like
Mm-hmm.
when you're like that and you're playing online stuff for the first time and you're super fucking competitive, which there are times I can be like that, and I drift away from playing certain games online because of that fact. Oh my god. There were times where I was frustrated and stuff, but when it came to that game in particular, I'll always remember one thing about that, and that kind of symbolizes some of my experiences playing games on the 360. I was playing an online match where I was on Snowbound, and the whole gimmick of Snowbound is players start off the opposite ends of the maps and stuff, and they go towards the center, right? I had figured out where the ghost spawned in, and so I'm just racing to get to that ghost. And throughout that whole entire match, I was gunning everybody down. I was just camping over by the side and stuff. I would just go and just all of a sudden I just go to the jet blast and just fucking just keep running people over that entire match. I did not have my microphone on during that time and stuff, but as soon as the game ended, I just kept hearing a bunch of people like, "God damn it! Like, what the fuck is this?"
Oh man.
Oh god, there was that. There was, oh god, Super Street Fighter 4 like yeah, Super Street Fighter 4. I put like over 100 hours inside that damn game, and I played on my Xbox 360 so much that my controller had an indentation of my thumb print of my thumb movement when I was doing freaking like quarter circle moves.
Mm.
I literally had an indent, kind of like my thumbstick was folding in because I was pressing down that damn thumbstick so hard with my left thumb that it engraved my fucking print into the damn thing. So I was able to execute certain moves quicker that way.
Jesus Christ.
That just tells you, dude, that no man, fighting games and me, I mean, yeah, we go way back.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh god, playing Portal 2 for the first time.
Yes.
That was amazing. Playing the playing through the first two Mass Effect games. That was amazing as well. Playing through the Orange Box and stuff. Half-Life 2 I played for the
Oh my
first
god.
time on there. I
Yes.
played the original Portal for the first time. I tried out Team Fortress 2 on that as well. Oh my gosh. There's so many good memories upon that, but I will say I did game the system a bit when it came to like GameStop, cuz I'd be the dude that would be constantly just trading in and out like certain like games and stuff and systems. I literally traded in like the Xbox 360 like about 3 or 4 different times, and I still would get like a bunch of store credit. I would use that store credit to invest like in either like say like DS games or
Yeah.
like fucking like certain Wii games I do still have to this day and stuff. But yeah, man, I mean, it actually became a point to where I did not have a 360 for the longest of times and stuff because I decided to invest everything inside the PS3, and that became my most played system. Because after that whole Sony hack about 2011 and stuff, the whole GeoHot thing and the fail overflow stuff, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna go all in and stuff on this thing. And like I wasn't really enjoying playing the 360 as much, so I end up just going full shift into the PS4 and Xbox One generation. But the last game on the 360 I really enjoyed was Black Ops, was
Yes.
those sarcastic gamer nights, was playing with a group of people, including like Cam Dog and Esmeralda and stuff like that,
Yeah.
friggin' like Nazi zombies, freaking like Zombie Romero and
Oh my
stuff like
god.
that, all
Yes.
those DLCs, all of that was so fantastic, and including the not just that, but also include the bad movie drinky nights and stuff
Yes, they're the
with
best.
Sarcastic Gamer and stuff. And I'm just here on the chat just listening to everybody else like go through because I couldn't afford shit.
Yeah, dude, yeah.
Like
Oh
streaming
my god.
service.
Yeah, being completely, yeah, just being completely fucked up, watching shitty movies and like the Netflix party thing where it's like almost like Mystery Science Theater 3000. You could see your little,
Oh no
remember
shit.
the little avatars and shit we used to have. Like I still have my avatar where it's
Yes.
like it's my avatar but like in a Metal Gear sneaking suit, and he has a little blade thing from Mass Effect 2 that comes out.
Hmm.
So yeah, like man, I love that. Yeah, that's like definitely one of the most important like pieces of like electronics that's come out my entire life. Like I was like, you're thinking about like, I this thing was so great. It survived the Red Ring of Death. I
Yep.
went through 9 Red Rings, and I still love
Oh
that thing. It
Jesus
was I
Christ.
didn't care. I was like, I remember like I eventually upgraded like after like the ninth one. I finally like it was like a year. Like, it was right when the Connect came out, and then like a Connect
Yeah.
bundle with the Elite, the Black 360, and also had like
Hmm.
I think it came with like it was like 120 gigabytes of hard drive space. And I bought that one,
Oh,
and like that was the last one I had forever. And
fuck, dude.
remember like that thing came out with 20 gigabytes of hard drive space. I'm like, I'm never got to worry about space ever again. It's like nowadays, like you can't even like I don't even think you can install a game
Dude.
with that.
Dude. When I first bought a 360, I had a 20 gigabyte hard drive,
Yep.
and the fucking thing didn't even have like an online anything, no HDMI port or anything. When I initially got like another 360, it had the HDMI port, but I had to buy a separate adapter
a
in
hundred
order to go and
dollars.
connect online.
Mm-hmm.
The wireless adapter that costs like about a fucking $100 just in order to get
I
online.
bought that too.
I I ended up going to that GameStop. I got that adapter only for like that dude I bought the stuff that bought that stuff from. Like he accidentally overcharged my card,
Hmm.
and so he freaking calls me up the next day. Is like, yeah, yeah, we kind of got a little bit extra money right here. You know, I mean, we kind of overcharged you and stuff. And you're thinking like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna go ahead and get my freaking money for this. But yeah, fun times on that one.
Yeah.
But but it's just the shit that we had to go through in order to try to like what we just take for granted now. Like consoles now have online like basically by default Bluetooth or like Wi-Fi, or you
Yeah.
can connect things with Ethernet too.
Yep.
That's probably the most preferred way to do it, connecting Ethernet. But all the extra gimmicks and all the extra parts and all the extra like growing pains with a 360, and despite all of that, you know, it survived.
Yeah.
And I could probably say, I after all the 360 stuff I went through and played and had, never once did I get a red ring of death.
No. Well, fuck you.
Never once.
Let me tell you, there's no longer period ever than the like 2-3 weeks you gotta wait to get your 360 back. Because believe me, I had to deal with it a bunch of times. So a few like little things here I wanted to talk about before we move on. I remember
Okay.
like Uno back in like when that first came out. That was like one of the first big like
Yes.
online games, and they're
Yep.
like it was very popular to have people that would own the camera, and you can actually like see people's like instead of seeing their gamer pick, it was actually like their camera. I just remember I seen a lot of dicks during that. They're playing Uno back in the day. There was definitely a lot of illegal activities happening during Uno.
Yep.
Like a lot of shit that would definitely the government, FBI, CIA, whomever would have been involved if that shit like if they would have known what was happening in 2005, 2006, and the 360 because of the Xbox camera and Uno. A lot of people. Chris Hansen would have been a very busy man. Um,
Oh
I remember like
Jesus.
this is like the last thing I can remember for, like as far as like this ever happened. This will never happen again. People buying Crackdown just to play the Halo 3 beta.
Yep.
I remember
Yep.
like it ended up like everybody only bought Crackdown because they want to play the Halo 3 beta. And it ended up like Crackdown and it became like actually like a really good game. Like an awesome fucking game. But it was like no one actually thought it would be good. And it was like, oh, this game is
No.
fantastic. Then like the very, very last thing I want to mention is just some of our arcade. Like Limbo, Braid, Trials, Geometry Wars, Super Meat Boy, Explosion Man, Crash Crashers, on and on and
The
on.
birth of the indie.
Yes, like
The birth of the indies on console.
yeah. So one of the greatest consoles ever made. Um, rest in peace, Xbox 360. Um,
Rest in peace.
all
In
right.
peace.
Yep. Rest in peace. In peace. All right. Let's move on here though. We got actually some news here to talk about. It's kind of a cool little thing here that just it kind of leaked earlier in the day. This happened on Friday. QuakeCon's going on right
Yes.
now. We started seeing some leaks about like a Doom 1 and 2 like upgrade thing coming out, like a definitive edition type thing. Um,
Hmm.
and it ended up like it was ended up announced and put out on last night. We're recording this on Saturday. This is going up Sunday. But we have the Doom 1+2 compilation. It's like the definitive, newly enhanced version of the first two Doom games. It includes online cross-platform deathmatch, co-op support up to 16 players, re-release including visual upgrades, support for modern controllers, weapon carousel allowing for faster weapon switching, new deathmatch pack consisting of 25 new maps. I think it's 43 overall. Legacy of Rust. It's a brand new episode of Doom 2. So we got brand new Doom levels. Was
Jeez.
co-developed by id Software, Night Dive Studios, and Machine Games. If you already own this game on consoles, or I believe on Steam as well, if you own one of the two, Doom or Doom 2, then you actually will get this for free. It is also available on if it's otherwise it's $10 to buy, and it's on Game Pass as well too. So but yeah, so it's Doom 1 and 2. Includes the updated soundtrack, 120 frames per second, and 4K rendering. Um, so
Sheesh.
I was playing a little bit last night and this morning. Oh God, Gables, it's so good. Like Doom is like one of my favorite games of all, one of my all-time like favorite games. Kind of going back to 360 here. Um, one of probably my most favorite like gaming memories, like growing up or even in my lifetime, is like my best friend Justin. Like we like he'd come over, and I remember like I was like 18 or 19 and stuff. We were and like Doom came out on the 360. It had probably been out for a little while at this point, but like I had just bought it. It was like $5, and I remember like him coming over, and my parents like had a like a half bottle of fucking I can't remember what it was. I can't think of it. Tastes like it's like black or tastes like black licorice. Uh,
White Claw.
oh no, don't talk bad about White Claw, you fucking asshole. I'm gonna black. I gotta Google this. I am blanking on licorice
Oh,
liquor. Why can I not think of it? It's like the most disgusting um, drink out there.
Clamato.
What?
Clamato.
No. Oh, Jägermeister. Jägermeister. That's what it was.
Oh, there you go.
I remember my parents had like a half bottle of Jägermeister, and we went to like the corner store, and we bought like $1. Like we bought a few like these like $1 energy drinks, and stayed up like super like pretty much all night playing fucking like beating Doom, um, like in drinking like this Jägermeister with mix like with these like shitty energy drinks. Uh, I think I had to work in the morning too. I just did not care. But anyways,
Oh.
well, I think we did this. We did the same thing with Doom 2. We played through that together as well. But he actually just texted me last night. Justin did. He's like, dude, I'm off this week. Let me know when you want to get together and play Doom again together. I'm like, fuck yeah, we have to do this. It's been almost 20 years. We gotta do it again. Like, Doom is like, Doom is a very important game to me and my best friend Justin. One of our all-time favorite games. Going like just and like also like just the memories of playing that game together. Um, Maybe the really cool thing here. This is coming in 2025, but limited run games that announced they're doing the definitive Doom SNES experience. So it has all the Doom 4 episodes. Um, has the Circle Strafe. It's basically all of this. Has new difficulty mode, everything, but it also includes like SNES, like basically like the SNES box. It comes like a blue version of like an SNES cart, a poster, and like a booklet and everything. It's basically like an SNES version of this game with a poster, and it looks fantastic. Gables, what are you thinking of this one?
Well, what kind of was interesting about this is totally caught me by surprise, right? Because they're advertising, like limited run games is kind of advertising this as like not only is like a kind of like a reproduction thing of like actual Doom and stuff like that on the SNES and stuff, but they're touting there's improved performance enhancements and stuff like that. Like for those that don't know, the SNES version of Doom 2, it suffered from slowdown, like bad slowdown in terms of that. I mean, the music was fine, the graphic stuff was fine too, but the performance when especially when you get to some of the hectic, like the bunch of the hectic combat and stuff, where there's a whole bunch of like fucking demons and stuff like that, just cluttering the screen, it would slow down the SNES version. So seeing this, obviously, I was a bit surprised, but at the same time, this is going within the realm of what's been happening like in the past couple of years to where it feels like the more we get into like the digital sort of like only future and stuff, we're getting more and more like say developers or more and more like gaming companies that want to release physical content stuff for like legacy consoles and stuff. I mean, let's put this for example. I think it was like about a year or so ago that there was a Rugrats game that also had like a release, right? That was going to have a release to where it would have a freaking NES version of it, right? And so I'm kind of liking this though because this is machine games. This is like id Software and stuff like that, like Bethesda, looking into like the original Doom, right? Doom 1 and Doom 2, doing all these type of like new levels, these enhancements and stuff, and then pairing up with limited run games in order to do like physical release, like Super Nintendo games, quintessentially, in the modern day, and just having these improvements, having these other types of like features inside of this game that literally got released in the Super Nintendo back in 95. This is really unprecedented territory, Tyler. I mean, I can understand like people or game developers wanting to like port certain games based upon certain like say chip ports or whatsoever, like for example, how reproduction cards for like Star Fox 2 started becoming sellable online is because people were buying up Stunt Race FX and stuff and using the base of that in order to try to do these production cards for Star Fox 2 and stuff that emulated ROM. But this is something entirely different. This is like basically from the ground up from what they have, and they're using it from what it sounds like they're using like some sort of like techniques and stuff to actually push like different types of chipset stuff, but not overwhelming the Super Nintendo to the point where it's like going to be overheating super
Mm-hmm.
quickly or something if it's going to be freaking having this cart inside of its damn like a console for a long while. But I absolutely like I approve of this. I mean, if we had like say for example a Square Enix that did something similar, some with limited run games to put out some of its classic games like say with other types of enhancements or something on
Well,
it
they
and
just
stuff and just
put out the Pixel remasters. They just announced that it's up for they put it up for pre-order this week. So we're seeing that a little bit.
yeah, I
So
saw that. I
yeah.
saw that. But what I'm saying is in terms of physical card stuff like this,
Mm.
if say a company like a Square Enix were to do something like that for some of or even a couple of their classic like RPGs or something, like pair up with like a company like Limited Run Games or wherever and produce cards, I'm kind of surprised and I'm kind of interested in seeing how many people would actually buy something like that,
Yeah.
you know?
Unfortunately, they're only making 666 of these. So
Yeah, I
yeah, which
know.
sucks.
But at the same point, it's like it opens up a fun possibility to where, when new things like with old becomes new again, I mean, could we see a future where we're going to be getting a more increasing things like say like more interesting clone consoles, more interesting like aspects to where these games locked in the past
Yeah,
with these reproduction cards and stuff?
I think it'll be like I could see almost like records and stuff like people can, like um, like Red Hot Chili Peppers, like Taylor Swift. I've seen like when they put out like Ariana Grande when they put out like their new
Yeah.
albums come out. They actually like on their websites will sell like records of their new
Yes.
albums and stuff too. So like I can see like in that sense, especially like, this stuff is like I wish they would do more than 666 because this thing is gonna sell out immediately. But like I would like
Yes.
I get like they don't want to make like 10,000 of these maybe, but like I wish they'd do more and like maybe like hey like maybe do like 1,000 if they sell out we'll do an extra 1,000 or something like that. Like I wish there was a
Dude.
way because I definitely want this. Like I don't I like I just to have it and put it on my shelf. I think most people are probably gonna be that way too. Like but yeah like it is cool to see like this, but like um it's just cool like with Doom like I talked about like Doom was important to a lot of people. Like
Mhm.
um, Romero just put like actually had a book just come out about like him and the process of like the id Software like making Doom, and I actually want to buy that book just because just kind of hear the history, especially back then. Like the like game development is
Yes.
a fascinating thing to me. And like we it's so rare that we hear a lot of details about it. And I especially want like to go back to like late '80s, early '90s days of like making video games. I definitely want to hear like read more about. So yeah, but I think it's really cool, and like I love this too because it's like it like we get excited for remakes and like ports and stuff,
Yes.
especially like games that are stuck on older platforms. Um, but it's just cool to see like not only like this, just like what they did with this, where it's like they didn't just like they didn't change it. It's not like a brand new like it's not like modern day. It's not like a new engine. It's not like it is the same Doom that you know. It just now it's 100. It's just it's 4K 120 frames per second. It doesn't break the game. Like it runs well and like it's just cool. It's just cool that this like exists and like just like they know how important Doom is and they don't like they're not messing with it. This is like especially like the original Doom. It's like it's one of the most important games of all time and this is like the level of
Yes.
care that like typically don't, especially when like it gets bought and put into like a bigger like like Bethesda now owns Doom and like it's so easy to like think that like they would fuck it up and now Microsoft owns Doom and it's like it's so easy to think they could fuck it up but it's just like the fact that like like there is like levels of people that still care about this thing, like they're still treating it with care and they're doing things like this like limited run stuff and I know like I think like Xbox limited runs are working together a lot on like they did like a Pentiment limited run thing. They're doing Doom.
Hmm.
Hi-Fi Rush is apparently still coming. Like, hopefully, because I want to buy that fucking thing.
Oh, hopefully.
Yeah. But yeah, this is cool. Like, this is still happening, and yeah, I think this is just fucking awesome.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think the one last thing I will say is like I would love it, like, say, if more companies did go through this route and stuff. I mean, I think the main dream, I think a lot of the like retro gamers would have, you go into a store and stuff and you see all these reproduction cards for, say, like all these classic Nintendo games or these classic Sega games. And it's like I would just have this sort of like vision or something where it's like I go into like a local retailer and stuff and like maybe near like some of the like the kids section or near wherever you see like a display and you have these like freaking boxes of like fucking Super Nintendo or NES games or whatever for like flat 50 $60 type of like range and stuff and it's like for purchase. That
Hmm.
would be like a that'd be kind of like a dream thing for me,
Yeah.
just having those options available.
Yeah. Let's move on here. It's supposed to be like our last topic for this week.
Hmm.
WB apparently is in talk. WBD here is in talks, potentially selling out a stake in their game studios. Um, basically, it sounds like the idea would be like, um, they would sell off the studio, like they'd sell like maybe like majority ownership of the studios, but they'd still like own a part of it, mainly because of the IP stuff like this. So we've seen like we talked about like companies were interested in buying. They tried selling them off 2020, 2021, I believe it was. Some of their studios and stuff, but the problem was like even like reportedly like Microsoft was interested in buying some of these studios. The problem was though is that they wanted like obviously the IPs weren't going to come with them, so it's like like buying like yeah you're gonna get a great team here, but you have these great teams that are known for making great games with these big IPs, and like why would but we gotta buy these studios, pay all these people, pay to make these games, but also then pay you to license these games. Doesn't make a lot of sense. So now it sounds like Warner Brothers is trying to sell off these studios, and like I said, it like maybe like keep some ownership stake, or maybe like work in a way where like they have a deal in place when you buy the studios, you also like get you don't get the IPs, but you have like maybe exclusivity with the IPs. Um, but it's been a lot of problems with W. We've been talking about. It's like they have so many problems outside of gaming since this whole Warner Media Discovery merger happened in 2022. The stock has declined 70%. Um, it's now I believe you can buy a Happy Meal. Happy Meal is more expensive than one single share of stock from Warner Brothers. Um,
Hmm.
they talked about like they had a big drop year over year in their like video game side of things, but a big part of that is too. And it's kind of like we talked about last week. We talked about Nintendo's Q1 like was way down year over year, but like we talked about a lot of that was they had Tears of the Kingdom last year. They didn't have Tears of the Kingdom this year in that quarter. You look at
Mm-hmm.
last year, they had Hogwarts Legacy, which was the biggest game, was the high selling game of the year last year.
Yep.
They don't have that this year. They had Suicide Squad. And what's fascinating is they talk about apparently they took a $200 million bath on Suicide Squad. What I find
Yep.
what's fascinating about this thing, like yeah, Suicide Squad obviously did not live up to the expectations. We know about this. The game, like I beat the game. The game was not great. There was potential there, and it's very frustrating because they have a really good story and some good characters there that like I liked, but everything else about the game just was not good. Um, and like I said, they lost $200 million on it, but it's the ninth best selling game of the year. which is just fascinating. Like
Go figure.
how expensive that game was to make. Obviously, the game was delayed a year. Like it was supposed to come out like I think it was supposed to come out like last May or something, and then like in
I
February
know,
or something like
right?
that, they delayed it like to February. So they delayed like 9 months. So that obviously just includes more time, and obviously didn't do anything. But also this week, like we saw like them. They basically just shut down the Cartoon Network website and basically just told you, hey, if you want to watch these episodes, you got to go to like you got to get Max, their streaming service. But yeah, it's a company that's got like I think $30+ billion in debt, and they're just trying to find every little thing they can do to save some money. But I don't know, give us what's your thoughts on all this?
Okay, so my thoughts upon all this. Well, first and foremost, it's like Warner Brothers has been going through a lot of these financial issues now for the past couple of years. Unfortunately, because of all these various decisions that they've made, and also the decisions and like deals that were not made, have affected a lot in terms of their game division in general. I mean, look at this for example. I mean, when David Zaslav took over, he was instrumental in trying to recoup as much cost as possible, cut through a lot of fat of stuff. There was the deal with Discovery, the merger between Warner Brothers and Discovery and stuff that
Yeah.
initially
Well, he
happened.
took over
On top of
because he was part of he ran Discovery, and then when the merger happened, he
yes,
took over. So
yes, yes, absolutely. On top of that, the failure of like getting that deal done and stuff with the NBA, and NBA choosing to go with Amazon for like what $1.9 billion or
Well, so
something like that.
their package went to NBC, but then they started to match the Amazon one
Yes.
because it's cheaper. But yeah, so like basically they offer 2.1 billion a year for
Okay.
NBA. NBA wanted 2.3. They said no, and then NBC took their package for a 2.3. So that's what happened.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So basically, Warner Brothers was beaten out for like having the NBA content and stuff like that on TNT and TBS and stuff like that. But because of that big loss in terms of that deal, this is where we're at right now. To where I mean, the games division in and of itself. I mean, Suicide Squad didn't really do it any favors in that regards. I mean,
Gotham Knights.
despite it selling like he has, it's like that's one of like a multitude of like just terrible things that have happened along the way here. And unfortunately, it's led to a lot of different type of sacrifices. Like I didn't know this at the time before today though, but Warner Brothers actually outsourcing like one of their Looney Tunes movies to like another studios and stuff, where it's predominantly had been those type of movies and like cartoons were produced in house.
Yeah, well then they like there's that Coyote and Acme movie that was done, and they
Yep.
just instead of Netflix offered
Oh
them
yeah.
$70 million to get the rights to it, and they decided to just get rid of it instead. Because like, for the tax break, there's the Batgirl movie
Yeah.
did the same with. There's another movie that I can't remember what it was that was done, just came out a couple days ago. That was it's completely done. It's another animated movie. I think it was like a Scooby Doo movie. I could be wrong on that one. That's done. It's an animated movie, and they're just not gonna release it for the same reason.
That's just the thing, though. I mean, this happened like about like a year and a like pretty much like over a year ago at this point, to where WB did like a huge like over like I think it was like over $1 billion like tax write-offs
No,
just
it
for
was like
tax
it was
write-offs or
like
something like that.
$60 million. So
60 million.
yeah,
Okay, my
I
bad
mean,
there.
but like
So if
yeah,
it's
like
over 60,
yeah, still
but still, it's a lot of money to go through and write off for certain contents and stuff just to get a cheap tax break and stuff, like knowing full well, okay, this is going to be like a little dent inside the like the $39 billion debt that they
mm,
initially had going on here. So in terms of their game division now, it's like it's it's pretty much looking like they want to just sell off a lot of their just probably much like all their games division. It feels like. I mean, alongside like say like with NetherRealms and stuff, and like Rocksteady and oh god, which one's the one that produced Avalanche Games?
yeah.
Avalanche Games, like for Harry Potter. I
I
could see a
yeah.
thing.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just saying, I could see a thing to where they could potentially close down one or two of these studios, but I also could see to where you may have Microsoft re-enter into the fold because of like cheaper costs in order to try to get these IPs.
Mm.
But other than that, though, I do not see this ending well.
Yeah, I mean the problem is like on top of that too is like they did also mention that they're like maybe they'll license out the IPs themselves.
Right.
Instead of like the selling off the stakes in the studios, licensing out the IPs and stuff, which it's probably a smart idea instead of like They mentioned they have 11 studios and they have like 4 main IPs. They just bought the I think First Player Games, the people that make the multiverses, which seems to be doing
Yes.
okay for them. Like they have like I mean, like these studios, like they have really good studios there, and it's just like obviously like like the forcing of like these live service games. Obviously, like we see like Gotham Knights
Hmm.
was like a game that was supposed to be a live service game. It was supposed to be a single player game, then was turned into a live service game, and then they tried to like pull back the live service elements like midway through development, because they realized that wasn't working. Um, yeah, and it's like I think it's smart. Like we seen like what happens when like we see like Disney do a 10-year deal with like EA to make exclusive Star Wars games. And like obviously that didn't work out
Right.
well. Now we're seeing like Disney doing like, hey, we're gonna work with all these different studios. Like Amy Hennig is making a Black Panther movie. EA is making a few different Marvel games like where they'll like pick and choose. Like Tron is being made by indie developers. Whereas like
Hmm.
also like Star Wars, like the Jedi Survivor and stuff like that. Like that seems to be working out better for them. And like obviously like it's easier because like Disney doesn't have like an internal game studio, like so it's easier for them to license out. Basically, there's not a lot of like risk to them. Like obviously they don't want to hurt the brand, but they want to like, hey, like you guys are fronting the cost, and then we get a cut of the money, and you guys got to pay us to license it, and then we get a cut of all the
Hmm.
sales on top of that. So it's kind of a win-win for them, and like I can see them doing that. Like and especially as expensive these games are getting to make, how long it takes to make them. Smart idea to do that. Seems like them like wanting to sell off some of the studios maybe, and maybe like even like doing this licensing feels like it's a little late because I feel like I don't want to say the bubbles burst because it's not completely burst, but like people wanting to spend a lot of money on these acquisitions of these studios, that is definitely I think the days of that. At least right now, that is gone. Like
Yeah.
those like Microsoft was interested 3 years ago. Now we see Microsoft just shut down multiple studios this year. We see all these like we see massive layoffs constantly in gaming and all over for everything ever. Everything. Something like John Deere had massive, Intel had massive layoffs, stuff like that. We see like it's happening across the board throughout the world, throughout the country. Um, but in gaming, like what we cover, we see constantly. So like, why would somebody want to invest hundreds of millions, billion plus dollars on buying these studios, and then like just like when people are struggling enough as it is like to make these games, like yeah, like I think it's a smart idea to do this, but it feels like it's too little, too late, especially because like so I did see someone mention that like Superman and Batman go in public domain, I believe in like 2036. So it's like
Yep.
you might get like one or two of these games to come out before that, and then like but some of these studios might like they might already have games early development. These games might not see the light of day until late 2020s, early 2030s. All right, cool. And like we'll just start making these games now. Like the next, like it's 2031. We'll start making a Batman game now and just not release it until 2037. Because by the time it's done, it'll be up for public domain. So it's like, why the fuck would we want to pay you, hundreds, potentially hundreds of millions of dollars to license these things? We can just wait you out. Um,
Yeah, that's
so
absolutely true.
yeah, like I mean, David Zaslav is a fucking joke of like I've covered multiple, um, quarterly financial reports from him and um, everything that guy talks, he's a fucking idiot. It just pissed me off too. Like this company's in bigger and bigger debt. Like they lost the NBA because he like publicly came out and said we don't need the NBA and like basically like they like made these deals. The NBA made these deals in place basically because they just didn't want to work with David Zaslav anymore. And like 30 years of history of TNT and TBS being on NBA is just gone because of one dumbass. Um, yeah, it sucks. Like you just get one bad leader and it all takes like Warner Brothers, like Warner and everything has been fucked since the 90s when they did the AOL Time Warner deal way back then. It's like this company has just been it's been 25 years of just like merger after merger, AT&T, Time, WB on top of like it's just been merger, and they're talking about like depending on who wins the election, they're rooting for a certain one because it'll be most likely for them that if Trump wins, I'm not trying to make this political, but this is what David Zaslav said that if Trump wins, it's gonna be easier for them to merge within their like another company to like they just keep merging with all these companies to hopefully make things better. And it's just like why are we merging these companies that with like all this debt with another company that has debt to make it worth more, but now we just have more shit like what we don't know what to do with. It doesn't matter. I don't know. It's just I'm not like I said, I'm not trying to make that like a like political statement, but like that's what he said. And it's just like this company has merged 5-6 times in 25 years, and it's gotten worse every single time. And I don't know what like there's not one single move. Like the only profitable thing they have is cable, and cable's dying. So um, It's making less. It's like it's still extremely profitable right now, but it's making less and less money every year. And it's like I don't know, like that's all you got. Like you got HBO and you got cable and like cool. In 10 years when cable's dead, like you got nothing. You just got a bunch of IPs that don't mean shit. So I don't know. I don't really know if like firing David Zaslav at this point doesn't matter. And like it pissed me off too. Like he got a $30 million bonus earlier this year because he worked everything else instead of focusing on getting rid of the debt. He focused on this one thing that triggered his clause in his contract, where he got a $30 million bonus. And he made sure he got that, but fucked everything else on the short in the long term because he wanted to make sure he got that bonus. And that's all that matters to him. So, fuck David Zaslav. That's all I have to say. Moving on to some other news this week, Gables. Persona 3 Aegis, which is the expansion for Persona 3, it's coming September 10th.
Mm-hmm.
That is, if you, it's Persona 3 Reload is already on Game Pass, but if you have Game Pass, you get the expansion as well. So that's pretty cool.
Yep.
Unfortunately, Meta closed Ready at Dawn, which is really disappointing because I'm a huge Order 1886 fan. I love that game, and I didn't realize this until this came out, but apparently they were in the process of making a Order 1886 2. And then when Meta went ahead and bought them, and obviously that put the end to that. Balatro is now past 2 million units sold, and also the creator of Balatro put in his will that when he dies, Balatro cannot be used for any gambling services or anything like that. So that's pretty cool. PS5 is past 61 million units sold, and Borderlands the movie is at 10% on Rotten Tomatoes. So yeah, not doing great. But Gables, let's get into some of the news this week. Not the news. What we've been playing this week. Gables is busy here, so I'll go ahead and start. All right, Gables is walking away here. I'm gonna do a quick little thing here. We're running a little long, so I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna talk about Flock and Flintlock. These games are on Game Pass. I put like an hour and a half into each of them. I'll talk about a little bit later here. I did go ahead and beat Persona 3 Reload. And like when you beat a big game or like you watch like or even like you watch like you get really into a TV show and like like you just invest those time. You don't want to just jump into the next TV show that's got several seasons and a bunch of episodes. You kind of almost need like a buffer type thing, like turn your brain off thing. Like sometimes like I finish like a long running TV show or something like that, or go through multiple seasons of a show instead of like jumping into like the next big thing. I'll just like go back and watch like episodes of, like The Office or Always Sunny, or like I'll watch some like I don't know, like murder documentary or something on Netflix. Usually like kind of like brain dead stuff before I jump into the next big thing. And after being Persona 3 Reload, I was like I bought SteamWorld Heist 2, and I've loved the first game, but this game is like the next one too is supposed to be like 35 hours long. And I don't want to just jump into another big game right after that one. So I'm like, I need a little buffer game here. So I was like kind of going around. I looked up like Flock and Flintlock came out last month, back in July, I want to say. And I had them downloaded, and I'm like, I'll give them a shot. Look like Flock, I heard is only like 4 or 5 hours. Flintlock, I heard is like closer to 10. I'm like, that's not too bad. And like, I played a little bit of Flock. It's a cool little vibes game. Like I said, I could put like about an hour and a half into it. Like you're just a dude flying on like a little creature, and like you're finding like other like type of animals around. It's kind of like discovery of like, and like basically it's like other creatures come and steal all like the whistles that you can use to like charm your these creatures that you find, and you can basically as you find more of these whistles, you can have bigger flock of animals that follow you around, and you can like use these whistles to charm them, and they'll follow you. And like I got the point, I got 12 of them, and I was flying around the level, and I found like 24 or 33, and I ended up like flying around for like a half an hour, and I couldn't find any. Like I had 9 more to find, and that's before we unlocked the next area to like find more of them. And I was like, I just couldn't find any more. And I was just like, all right, like, I was really enjoying the game. I was finding them at a nice pace. I was moving along at a nice pace. And like I said, I spent like 20, 30 minutes just flying around, and I could not find another single one, like a single other creature. So it's kind of like, all right, I put it down. I'll probably go back to it because I was enjoying the vibes of it. I want to go back and check it out. I was really liking it. Flintlock's never gonna played for like an hour and a half. I was like actually kind of like digging it in like a kind of like a double A sort of like action platformer, like third person combat game. Like I was like the combat, it's not great. It's like 7.5 level of like storyline, and like graphically looks really good though. But I was kind of enjoying it. I was liking it, and then I found out it's like a Souls like game. I'm like,
Oh,
Yeah. So and I like I'm not a Souls-like guy. So like I'm like this game isn't bad. Like hey, it's like I said, it's like I think it's like 8 to 10 hours. It said I'm like this is kind of the perfect game I need right now to play. And I was like just kind of playing through it. And I died a few times. I'm like all right, like I don't enjoy the combat enough here. Like I'm like I said, I'm like if this was just like the game and like there wasn't the Souls like part of it, I probably would actually keep playing it. Probably would have beat the game because like I was enjoying it that much for what it was. And, like like every night you need that junk food type of game, and this is kind of what it was. And I was like, all right, well what, I played it like I said, I played it for like close to an hour and a half. I'm like, all right, yeah, no, I don't like Souls like. Souls likes are not necessarily for me. So I just kind of dropped it, moved on. But Gables the main thing I want to talk about with you here. I waited,
yeah.
I pushed this off to talk about it, Gables. 82 hours later, I beat
How many hours
Persona.
later?
82 hours. I beat Persona 3
Yeah.
Reload. It's done. It's over. Thank you.
You beat your first Persona game.
Yes. And I've been. It took me like a month to beat this game. I talk about like I've been at home with a broken foot and ankle the last like month and a half now. So that's like the reason I ended up picking up playing it. Like just kind of needed like, something to eat up hours as I'm like just kind of stuck on a couch all day. And
Yes.
this kind of came like perfect. Like talking about is like that perfect time and place game. Like I've always like said like Persona is like a franchise I've always respected and a franchise I knew I'd probably like if I jumped into it. It's just like I don't like the time investments I hear about these things. It's like I'm not gonna like that's like no because like if I was like playing this game and like working my job, this game would have taken me 3 months, 4 months to beat. Like no joke.
Mm-hmm.
Like I mean basically me giving up my entire weekends to just play these games. And it was kind of nice too of like only like playing. I was playing it for like 3 or 4 hours a day. Like or like some days I played for like an hour or like it was kind of great because like the way the game works out is like you can play for an hour, you can play for 2 hours, you can play for 4 hours, and like you always like the way the game like and the game is very long, but also like things move at a faster pace. I always felt like I played for an hour, but
Yes.
like I made it through like 2 weeks in the calendar. But yeah, like I ended up just like loving like I like the combat. I like the way like the shift and like it's very like the game like the combat goes very quickly and like you get through matches very quickly and like the flow of it works really well. Like all the different creatures are really cool. Like finding the weaknesses and everything like that was really cool. And like the Tartarus, so, like I mentioned like when I found out how many levels like early on, I was looking up guides, kind of understand the game better and like make sure like I knew what I was doing. And I accidentally I told you like I was like a third of the way through the game and I found out there was like 260 something levels to this Tartarus. I was like at that point I was like 70 in. And I was like, oh my god! Like I thought I was like I knew there was like 100 plus. I was not expecting close to 300 levels of the Tartarus. And like I like how long like the game almost takes a full year. But I ended up like just like man like the game like I ended up loving this whole fucking game. The like the characters like the storyline like and I was like even telling you like I was like 35 hours in the game before I really felt like the story was taking off. And like the first like
Right.
30 plus hours of the game is just like learning the mechanics and the world and like some of the characters like the main cast of characters and like then it was like cool like all right now you know what you're doing now we're gonna like now everything else is gonna happen like now we're gonna tell you the story I'm surprised like where the story goes because I don't want to spoil a lot of things but like how dark and how crazy like how like major like
Mm-hmm.
things happen throughout the story of this game like you just don't think it's gonna happen uh finding out that you get a fucking dog in your party was like the coolest thing ever and like there was definitely like I was getting like there was definitely like I remember like there was like a 2 day stretch where I had to take a break from the game because I was like kind of getting like frustrated. I was losing some steam on it just because like um just how like especially like this back half of the game like the Tartarus like every month you unlock like more levels you can do. You can only like do so many per month, and like the amount of levels you can do every month was like getting bigger and bigger. Like the first couple months you can only do like 15, 20 levels,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's like 30 plus. And I'm like how long it would take me to do like I would like do like I was breaking it up into sittings like I'm gonna do like the first like 15 levels tonight, and then tomorrow I'll do the other half or whatever. Like, but like the meat and potatoes of this game, the thing that makes you play and makes you want to keep going is it is the world you're like it's the city that you're in. It's the music. It's the characters. It's the fucking the social links. It's everything. Like just like learning like how things work. Like hey, like on this night these characters will be here or like the arcade will have these type of things. They'll upgrade these features for you on Monday, Wednesdays, or Fridays, or you can go work at the coffee shop and upgrade up your charm and your courage Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Or you can go work at the movie theater on Sundays, or like you every month, like or every Sunday, like there's a TV show you can buy things on the Home Shopping Network, essentially of the game every
Yep.
Sunday, and like. Uh, yeah, and like there was definitely like I'd say like the last like third, I was like kind of losing a little bit of steam more and more because like the main characters, the main social links I cared about, I had already done. Like I ended up like maxing out I think like 8 or 9 of there's 20 to do. I maxed like 8 or 9 of them, and those are the ones I was like I would say like 6 of them I really cared about, maybe like 7 of them I really cared about. And then there's a couple other ones that these are kind of cool. I'm interested to see where they go. And I thought they were intriguing. And then like the rest, I'm like I just didn't care about, and like I was like doing them just because I'm like, well, I'm out of things. I don't really have anything else to do, so like I'm just kind of wasting nights here. Like the last like 6 weeks of in-game time, I'm just like, I'll go talk to this guy, at the park, or I'll go talk to this, I guess I'll talk to the little girl at the park, or I'll talk to this guy in the bar and stuff and learn more about him, I guess. But like some of those like end up being like way more interesting than I thought they would be, and like there's a couple of people like I kind of found late in the game with like a month ago. I'm like, oh shit, I wish I would have found them earlier because I actually care about like I'm actually really invested, but I only ended up getting like halfway through their storylines because I ran out of time. Um, but
Hmm.
yeah, like just the man, like I was completely just blown away by like there's definitely a lot of wackiness, anime stuff to it that like I'm not a big like I've talked about like I'm not big into anime. It's usually kind of a turn off to me, but like and that's there, but like they do such a good job of like I said, the character building and the storylines and making you care about the characters in this game. That, like even though there's that wacky anime stuff to it that I don't really care for, the other stuff is so good that like I cared about these people. I cared to keep going back. Like every time I see Koromaru, the dog, every time he was standing there with the brush, I brushed him. Every time he was wanting to go for a walk, I walked him to go to the park. And you always bump into somebody else and talk to them. Like you always learn like other intriguing things. There's 6 romance options in the game. I got all 6 girlfriends, Gables, no big deal. Yeah, and I ended up like kind of threading the needle there. But yeah, so like, um, yeah, I ended up like, I was blown away by this game. I love the game. There's definitely, I don't know if it's gonna be my game of the year. It's definitely in like the top 4 or 5, I'd say right now. Without looking at my list of like games on that list, it's probably like top 4, 5 at worst, maybe. Like it definitely, like I said, it deals with that problem, like the pacing issues of like, all right, cool. I'm not gonna go like I was going to the Tartars twice a month just to grind levels and finally miss people. And then like towards like the end of the game, like the back half, I'm like, instead of going twice, I'll just wait till like right before the like next major plot point happens to then go to the Tartarus. To like I don't have to go back to find the missing people. I can just do it all in one swoop. I don't I beat the Reaper in the game. I got 46 of the 48
Hmm.
achievements in the game. I did like Elizabeth had 101 requests. I did
46 out of 48.
Yeah, I did everything almost. Elizabeth gives you 101 side quests to do. I did 97 of them. Um, the only 2 achievements I didn't get is like Messiah is like the top like fusion persona you can get, and like I missed like one. I need like one more thing to do to get it, and I couldn't get it. And then the last thing, the other achievement I didn't get was like get to max out all social links in one playthrough, and obviously I was nowhere near getting that. And basically I looked up like I was kind of curious, like I wasn't gonna do it, but I was kind of curious like what you do. And basically like you have to do everything. If you miss one thing, you fuck up the whole like playthrough. So like, all right, cool. I'm never gonna do that.
Mm.
Like not that I was gonna like, replay this game again, anyways. But like I was kind of curious, like how easy it would be to do it, because I was so close, like I said, of getting all of them. I'm like, might as well check it out. Like now I'm good. But yeah, like I blown away by this game, and like, man, I'd say like the last like 2 hours of this game is fucking amazing. Those last like there's like 3 boss fights in a row, all build up really really well. Then the last boss fight is just fucking epic. I like Gables, you know me, I'm a sucker for like big epic moments, especially like boss fights with like the
Mm.
music and the stories and like the characters and like I'm telling like I'm a guy that like cried because of like how awesome a cutscene was at Final Fantasy 16 last year. Of like the epicness. It wasn't even like anything sad happened. It was just so epic. I like had and the music and the like everything that was happening, like I had tears coming to my eyes because it was so like I was so emotional during this boss fight. And like I wasn't there yet. I wasn't like I'm nowhere near that level, but I was like, man, like when like you get to that final boss fight, like so there was like I'd say like 30 hours in, like the boss or the main battle theme, I fucking hated. I was so sick of it. But then you get to the final boss and they do like a rock opera version of that theme. And my neighbor moved out Sunday, my upstairs neighbor, so I don't have a neighbor anymore. I fucking blasted my television as high as it could, and I fucking played that. I was like purposely going slow during this boss fight, and I knew I was gonna win, so I wasn't really like I was like I maxed out. I was like I had level 99 with my 4 characters in my party. So I'm like,
Wow.
well, you beat the Reaper. Like I was like level 70 something, or like low 80s, the high 70s with the Reaper. I beat the Reaper. I maxed out my level like right towards the end of the game. So like I was in no concerned of like losing the fight, but I was like purposely going slow because I was just enjoying the music so fucking much. It was so cool. uh, and then like the last like couple like cutscenes, everything like that, all the things that happened was fantastic. Like even like you beat the game, you beat the last boss fight. And there's like a whole hour after that, like an epilogue, and you can go around and talk to everybody that you had a social link with, and like kind of get like a final goodbye with them in a sort of way. And like you like the final cutscene of like with you and the team and stuff like that is just fantastic. It's like it's a little goofy. I'm like I don't really fully understand one of the key things that happens in there. Like why did this happen? I don't know. It doesn't really make sense to me. But like overall though, like it's fantastic. I love this game. It's fantastic. I keep saying fantastic. I don't know what else. I don't know what other word to use because it's so great. I love this game. Uh, like I said, there's so many different. I have like a lot. Like the issues I have are so minor. But at some points where like I was like getting like frustrated, like, just because like I said like it's so fucking long, and like I play like 2 hours of just like going around talking to people every day, and like I just get through like 3 4 like get to like 3 weeks of like especially like the last like 20 hours because like I'm getting like like the higher the social link you get with these people, like the longer like those cutscenes
Yes.
get, and like so like instead of like like the first couple levels of the social link might only take 30 seconds. Now you get to the point where like every social link I have is like I'm like 7 8 with these people, and each one's like 3 4 minutes. I'm like, God damn it! I'm like I'm trying to get through these like sections faster and finish the game, but like I'm so further. Yeah. So anyways, I loved it. It's fantastic. I keep saying fantastic. I don't know whether to use the other word to use because it's really really good. I like this game a lot. I'm blown away by it. It's definitely going to be. It's in the small little pocket here if I have game of the year. When I do have game of the year, it's gonna be a tough one to put many more games over it. But yeah, that's all I've been playing. Gables. What about you?
I will say I'm incredibly happy that you stuck through the entirety of playing Persona 3 Reload.
Yeah,
That is definitely something out of your comfort zone. I'm very happy you've had a chance to experience your first full-on Persona game.
yeah, yeah.
And if you think that game is great,
It's
let me
not.
tell you
No,
something.
I'm not gonna do it. It's not gonna happen. I know what you're gonna say. I'm not playing five.
I
If I'm
know.
gonna play, it's gonna be like a year later. It's gonna be a year from now.
That's fine. That's fine. I don't care when you do it.
When I break my
But
other
I
foot,
will
I'll do
say
it.
this. Persona 4 Golden, Persona 5 Royal, they're even better.
I don't believe you.
And that's something you can wait another year or whatever in order to try to get the enough like motivation to try one of those games again.
Yeah.
But that being stated, what I've been playing, I basically played through the entirety of the Capcom Fighting Collection. I went through all 10 games. I completed them. I completed 10 games. I basically got the entire set and achievement stuff. I got the platinum trophy. This is platinum number 33 for me. But this is the first one of this year, and I didn't do any type of platinum things last year. So this collection had me hooked all the way through. And it's basically playing through games that I have played off and on over the past, like, say, 10 years, off, give or take. I mean, the Darkstalker series, those cluster of games ranging from the first three releases in the US and then the two that were subsequently stuck in Japan only that were like incremental updates over like say Darkstalkers 2 and then like a pre thing for like Darkstalkers 3. Yeah, I played through all of those with every single character, right? I played through all of those games with every single character. It didn't matter whether it was Puzzle Fighters 2, didn't matter whether it was Super Gem Fighters or Cyberbots or Red Earth or like fucking Hyper Street Fighter 2 Anniversary Edition, the PS2 version of that damn thing, or even the five like Darkstalkers games. The easiest portion of that entire process was figuring out some of these games you could potentially save at the very last boss, do a save state, and if you get beat by the thing, you could switch off to another character, and you could actually view their ending that way. That was only applicable for only a select few of those games. So Super Puzzle Fighters 2, that I could do. For Super Gem Fighters, yes, I could do that as well. Red Earth, no. You can't do that type of like save data, like that save states type of switch. You have to do complete playthroughs to get and see every single ending. I did that. I freaking played through Red Earth, I kid you not, 8 to 10 different times. Now, granted, This doesn't last very long. It usually lasts about 15, maybe to about half an hour for a playthrough. But that being stated, having to look up guides in order to try to figure out why I or how I'm going to go forth and to accomplish this set feat, and then all of a sudden discovering inside of like the main menu here for Capcom Fighting Collection, there's a little subcategory. It's called Fighter Awards. It lists every single thing that you can do inside of that game in order to get 100% in that platinum trophy, including which characters that you've beaten the game with, like all those individual games with, how you can unlock certain characters, how you get to view some of those endings, like the conditions where you can unlock some of those endings with Red Earth, which if I would have known that to begin with, I would have done that way instead of being okay, what the hell am I supposed to do here, you know? And like, but let me tell you something, the immense satisfaction I got when I finally finished my last game, I purposely felt so freaking accomplished because it's like Darkstalkers 3, that was the final game that I went through every single one of the campaign stuff because I wanted to. Granted, there were modifiers that were used into effect. In order to play through some of these games, I had to decrease the difficulty stuff to star zero. You actually have the options to increase the fight, like the your fighter's damage to maximum. You had the option to switch it to where there's only one round matches, so the best of two, quintessentially. That made the grinding process easier. That being said, I did end up beating all of those games on like at least at 1 star or if not like 4 star difficulty for some of those. So I decided to do that first before even setting the difficulty thing down to 0 and doing all the other modifiers and stuff. But what I can say is Capcom did a fantastic job in terms of making it so accessible to people wanting to dive into these games the first time. There's so many different options and there's so many different things you can keep track of that it made the process definitely easier as opposed to just okay, just these collections. Okay, now you need to figure out how you're going to unlock this, and that. Oh, what's that? You don't have experience for the past like 20 or 25 years of how to unlock certain characters? Tough shit. Go find a guide. But yeah, it was just an overall like it was a rewarding experience. There was times where it was frustrating. There was times that was fantastic. Obviously, the fantastic times were much plentiful because I had a chance to experience like all the different endings of like the Darkstalker games and stuff for each character. Funny enough, it's like for some of the two games inside of Japan that never made it to the United States, they didn't have really traditional like endings. Kind of like how some of the cutscenes play after playing through the arcade mode of the American versions. Like I stated like last week, there's some fighters that have endings and stuff like the one Felicia, she's like a movie star or something and tries to like get all these like various contracts or something like that, and she wants Blanca to be her star actor alongside her or something like that. Just little strange little blurbs. Or the one that you and I were watching right before like recording, where we watched the entire arcade playthrough of a BB Hood for Darkstalkers 3, including the ending where it was just kind of like a role reversal of like the Little Red Riding Hood and the Big Bad Wolf, where it's like the big bad wolf and like his family are in this house and stuff, and it was implied that Little Red Riding Hood was going to go and just try to kill them or something like that. It's just weird quirky stuff like that on top of the character stuff in those Darkstalker games that just made things so fantastic, in my honest opinion. They're weird. They are the weirdest, actually one of the weirdest fighting game series that Capcom's produced. I would say that the licensed property JoJo's Bizarre Adventure that Capcom did license back in the day I would call that the weirdest. But I have to admit, I wasn't intently going to do this when I first bought this game collection. I just wanted to play through the games, experience them, but then as I started to experience them, it's like I started noticing a couple different things that were happening. It's like, oh, this trophy list is actually achievable. Can I actually do this? Can I actually do that? And step by step, I started chipping away at certain things. Like, oh, I got this thing unlocked. Oh, I did this 18 hit combo in Cyberbots. Oh, I actually did finish the entirety of Hyper Street Fighter 2, and I beat Akuma as well. It just happened to be close to about 3 weeks of me continuously grinding on this collection of games, and it ended up being me beating and completing 10 games in a row. So that's just insane. But other than that, though, there was one other game I did play, and it was another pickup. It was just basically the pickup that I got that I mentioned earlier, the NES World Championship, like the Nintendo World Championship, like Switch game. And basically, they're just blurbs of set mini games of your classic NES games, like Mario Brothers, Mario Brothers 2, Mario Brothers 3, Zelda 1, Zelda 2, Kid Icarus, Balloon Fight. I mean, I know there are other games like Kirby's Adventure as
Ice
well.
Climbers. I don't know if you said that one.
Yep. Yeah, Ice Climbers is definitely in there too. But there's a big old hodgepodge of games that it sets individual parts, some of them individual parts of levels, some of them you have to do specific tricks that you would have done back in the day. It's a fun experience. I mean, it definitely takes me back to playing some bits of those games and stuff and try to the addictiveness of trying to speed through and actually beat your best time and stuff like that is definitely a plus. I do understand like the online stuff for the game is like next to nothing because it's basically just bare bones,
Nintendo.
which is a which is definitely unfortunate because Nintendo does have a track record of being bare bones with certain online experiences. This would have been so much better if they would have allowed us to have these online leaderboards and stuff that would update like a real time based upon who plays through a game, certain things like what or when. But instead, we have to go upon checking out like social media sites or certain like leaderboards or something that is separate from what we could easily access, say, on the actual game itself. So that's definitely feels like a misplay. But other than that, though, it's definitely fun to just say get through world like stage 1.1 or something like that in Mario Brothers, or okay, how fast can you get this mushroom in Super Mario Brothers like 2 like the lost levels, and like okay, you want to play Mario 3? Let's see how you get the mushroom in the in stage 1-1. It's just stuff like that that's very nostalgic, but it actually gets you more into the mindset of a speedrunner. It's like, okay, how can I skip this in order to go and get this quicker? Or how can I skip this particular part just to save like a couple of seconds? And there are some that I've actually got an S rank
Hmm.
in because I've done it like an entirely different way, and because I'm so familiar with some of these games, it actually taught me, oh, okay, well, if I just swerved a little bit, like a little bit closer to the curve or something like that, I could actually go and cut off like 2 seconds.
Hmm.
Oh, so that's been fun. But overall, that's gaming for me this week, and I'm kind of excited to see what this coming week's gonna lead me.
Yeah, yeah, we're definitely getting closer to the fall, so that means the
Mm.
next couple weeks we've got a lot of stuff coming out. So it's gonna be I think the rest of the year from here on out, there's gonna be a lot of cool stuff coming out. So it should be a good time.
Yep.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, listening, whatever you guys doing. Appreciate it. If you guys go there, like, give us a thumbs up, 5-star reviews. I don't know, fucking send us a letter. I don't fucking know. Help us out. Really appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button, whatever you can do to help us out. We really would appreciate it. There are links down below to everything that we're on. So you do that. Check us out. Twitter, Facebook, all that. We would appreciate it. But I was Tyler.
And I have been Colonel Gables. Until next time, I hope you guys have yourself a great week. I hope you play some fantastic video games. And most importantly, I'd like to thank everyone for watching another fun-filled episode of the Drunk Nerds podcast.
Hey, Gables.
Yeah,
Too sweet.
too sweet, man.
Bye, guys.
See ya.